Hello and welcome. This is Charles Fockaert, August 21st, 2018. I'm in Kingman, Nevada. I'm at a pretty major truck stop, and I'll show you a picture of that here in a minute. In fact, why don't we do that right now? So I took this image just about an hour ago, maybe not quite, and you can see there's quite a few trucks here, and there's a lot of trucks behind here, and there's a lot of trucks over here behind me. So this is a pretty major spot for the truck drivers, which incidentally is the number one occupation in the United States. I'm going to show you what I did yesterday. It's I was up here at Overton, Nevada, just north of Lake Mead. I took the North Shore Road all the way down, and it meanders around, and then I had to go back along the Shore Road to Hoover Dam area, and that took me about an hour and a half altogether probably. And then this was early in the morning. I got up and left around 6, and then I drove all the way down 93, all the way down 93 to here to Kingman, Arizona. And I was 6 hours on the road. That's the most time ever that I've spent on the road in the mobile cabin. And the mobile cabin is pretty mobile, no problems. I did a couple minor repairs, as I mentioned before. The dipstick tubes fixed, I hope. I haven't checked the oil. I'm going to do that before I take off again. And I bought a new gasket for the master cylinder. It doesn't appear to be leaking, so maybe I fixed that. And the worst road I've been on yet in my travels was the last 50 miles before you get to Kingman. The last time I was in Kingman, Arizona, I was about 9 or 10 years old. When my mother decided to leave my father, and she packed us 3 boys up inside of her 1955 Chevy Bel Air, and we went on Route 66. This is Route 66 here. And she made a big mistake, and I don't want to go into that, but her mistake, the fact that she and my father couldn't work it out, affected us 3 boys for in our entire life, and my mother. And I bring back those memories here when I'm in Kingman, and I think she probably sat there on the couch many a night thinking, what the hell did I do? Because she had it made. This was back in the 60s when she was a stay-at-home mom. Your average cost for a house was about $12,000. The average income for a man working, a white male working, was about $5,500. So in 2 years plus of working, you could pay off your house if you put all the money into it. That's how much things have changed since 1961. And I could go into that quite a bit more, but I won't. So I left Overton yesterday when I did, because I was parked at the park. And let me go show you a picture of that. So it's like you can see there, I was sitting in the shade and minding my own business and just not bothering anybody. It's kind of out of the way. There was really no houses around there. I'm on the street, right? Well, about 7 o'clock. And my back door here, I got the red and blue behind me, and then officer asking about me, and I opened the door, and he blah blah blah. Hello sir. Did you know you can't park here? And I said, no, I didn't know that. I said, I'm parked in the street. Is there an ordinance against parking in the street overnight? No, but you're at the park. And I go, well, I'm at the park, but I'm not in the park. No. And I don't want to get in an argument with the guy, because you're not going to win with a cop, right? So 2 more cops show up, because they got a big criminal matter here now to take care of, These people got nothing to do. Somebody called. Officer said, well, neighbor's concern, out of state license plate, parked overnight. And I said, then he wants my ID. And I go, well, I haven't committed any moving violations, have I? And he goes, well, you know, I could give you a ticket here, or I could give you a warning. It's your choice. And I said, okay. So I didn't give him my ID. I just gave him my name, my spelling of my name. He went and did a check. And as you can see, there's no cuffs on me, so I was cleared. He says, clean record and your driver's license good. And so we had a little chat there, and I said, well, can I stay here tonight? No, you got to move. Okay, is there an ordinance against parking in the street overnight in Overton, Nevada? And he said, no, I'm not going to hassle you. And I said, well, good. So anyway, I packed her all up, and I made my way to another spot that I already picked out because I kind of knew this was going to happen. By the way, Joe, excuse me, I want to take a sip here before it gets cold. And Joe, thanks again, buddy. So I spent the night on this other spot, and at 6 o'clock in the morning, I got up, left. If they don't want you there, I don't need to be there, right? I moved on. That's what I like about being in a mobile cabin. You don't like where you're at, take off, and which is what I did. But I got to tell you, yesterday was a real butt kicker. 6 hours on the road, and I spent probably an hour and a half just taking breaks. And I'm going to show you the pictures at one place that I took a break at. So let's go have a look at those, shall we? Here we are at a scenic overlook, and I took some of these photos to give you an idea of what this looks like. My pictures didn't come out as well as I would like them to, but that's the Colorado River down there, if I'm not mistaken. And that's the highway I was on coming from the north. And there I am in the parking lot. And there's a close-up view of the lake below me. And, you know, that might not be the Colorado River. I got to check that. Hold on. No, that's not the Colorado River. I get those confused because the Lake Mead doesn't block the Colorado River, the Hoover Dam. The Colorado River is actually blocked by the Glen Canyon Dam, if I'm not mistaken. And but anyway, that's where I was. And some of the worst road I've been on yet, besides up there in Montana in the mountains, it was the last 50 miles before Kingman, Arizona on 93. Just beat the heck out of the truck. And I can't get in the fast lane because all the other trucks were getting in the fast lane, in the left lane, because it was a better road, because they beat up this road. And so, but anyway, that's Arizona for you. I don't think they have as much money apparently as the roads I saw and I drove over in Idaho and in Nevada. Anyway, that was a very grueling day yesterday for me. 6 hours, and I couldn't wait. I even stopped 15 minutes before I got to Kingman. My hands, for everything is sore, the muscles. Anyway, I don't want to go into all that. You don't need to hear about my problems, but wow. I was so glad to get here, parked here at this truck stop, and you know, the first thing I noticed is that most of the people around here are non-white. The majority of the people that go into this truck stop, and even the majority of the truck drivers, are non-white. And people in town here may be white, but most of the people here are non-whites. So I'm already in non-white territory. And a lady here, let me show you what her vehicle looks like. So they're back there in this Mercedes Benz. They call that the Weekender. And I was getting on my bike, and she got out of her car, out of her vehicle. And I saw her husband this morning. And they're the typical Americans who think that they've arrived because they have a lot of money. And we got to talking, or she did all the talking. And she told me, and I said, "Oh, you're from Montana," and she goes, "Well, really not. We just did that for tax loophole purposes. Formed an LLC. The best place to form an LLC is, I think she said Nevada, or maybe she said South Dakota. So if you see a lot of these RVs from South Dakota, that's why." And me and my husband, we just got back, or we just came from a pickle something, some new. She says the fastest growing game among older Americans, active senior citizens, and she told me it was a combination between tennis and ping pong and racquetball. It's you play with a wiffle ball and it's a flat pad. I don't know. Never heard of it before, and quite frankly, I couldn't give a rat's arse about it. And she made sure she told me that she's got a house in Tucson. Her and her husband got a house in Tucson. They got a house in, I think she said, Colorado, Steamboat Junction, Colorado, somewhere. One of those upper. So obviously her and her husband have made a lot of money in their lifetime, and they're out enjoying. She told me, "We're having more fun than any human being should be allowed to have." She's just so happy. Okay. And then she says, "Well, I've got to go. I'm going to go buy a lottery ticket." And I said, "Oh, really? You play the lottery, do you?" And, "Oh, yeah. The jackpot is up in close to $1 billion. See, they got all this money, brand new Mercedes, 130,000 baseline, and that looks like a pretty new one. House in Tucson, house here and house there, and they're traveling all over playing this little game, and it's not enough. They have the tax loophole, so they don't have to pay taxes. I don't blame them on that. We're not required to pay taxes anyway, folks. But that was the end of our conversation. Now, how much further do you think I would be able to get with this woman and her husband to talk about the important matters that we face in the United States? They're oblivious, or they don't care. They don't want to know. They don't want to talk about it. They want to go play their game, pickle. Let me look and see if I can find out what that game is. Okay, hold on. So here it is, folks. Adult pickleball. Pickleball. Have you pickleballed yet? Come play the game that is sweeping the nation. Please join us as we watch, learn, and play. Pickleball is a racket sport which combines elements of badminton, tennis, and table tennis. Well, whoop-de-doo. Maybe I'll be able to play pickleball when I get down to where I'm going in Arizona here. Folks, I don't know. I said it in 1999 when I left the U.S. The United States is finished. Absolutely finished. You know what? And the other thing you got to think about, a lot of people don't watch or don't use the internet like we do. People who watch this channel and other channels like this one probably on the internet more than these people, this adult. And they look like to be in their mid-60s, maybe a little older. And the typical retirees who got a lot of money in their 401. These people, when the collapse continues and reaches its end and continues on the course it's on, these people are going to get hammered, because I can almost guarantee you they play the lottery here. They're playing the lottery in the 401k plans and the stock market, and it's going to put a big crimp in their lifestyle when this all unravels. And I'm going to pause here a minute, take a sip of my coffee, and I want to talk about gold here for a second. Okay, I watched a video last night on two guys from Australia talking about how Australians has 11. I had to erase what I said because I made a mistake, and I wanted to say that the two Australians were talking about the Australian people, the white people of Australia, have 80 tons of gold somewhere, and 11 tons are supposed to be with the Bank of England. And we know who controls the Bank of England, folks. And it's missing. They don't know where it is. They haven't done an audit. And the gold is gone, folks. Somebody has the gold. I wonder who it is. Any guesses? The bottom line is, folks, the gold has disappeared. The gold has disappeared. There's most likely no gold in Fort Knox. And remember World Trade Center number 7? There was gold kept in the basement of World Trade Center number 7. And I remember right after the event, 9/11 event, there was pictures, images, videos on the internet where the trucks backed up and moving the gold out of WTC 7. So where did that gold go? Remember, Bernanke has said gold is not money. We don't need gold. So all this poo-poo on gold, we got people saying gold is useless. But the gold is gone. I believe the gold is in the hands of the private parties that I can't talk about, because then I'll get another strike on this channel. But those of you with eyes to see and ears to hear will know who I'm talking about. And there's a bank, a Wall Street bank, and those with eyes to see and ears to hear will know who I'm talking about, who've been accumulating silver. They're estimated they have close to 1 billion ounces of silver they've been able to accumulate. And when they suppress the price of silver on the COMEX, this is a gigantic fraud, folks, of epic proportions. And the gold and the silver now are in the hands of those who've been telling us that you don't need gold and you don't need silver. You don't need Yahweh's money. It's a barbaric relic, not necessary to have any of it. Even though the United States used to have 90% silver as their coins, we used to be on the gold standard until August 15th, 1971, where Nixon took us off of that. And then we used to have silver and gold certificates, etc., etc. And the Constitution, what is it? Forget the section that says that the Congress has the right, has a responsibility to coin money. Coin money, not print money. So what's about to happen here is going to just blow everybody away. What's coming? And we got people here on in the Israelite identity movement that are telling you, oh, you can have a few pieces, but not necessary to have your wealth in Yahweh's money, gold and silver. They are absolutely wrong. They don't know what the hell they are talking about. So don't fall for that trap. On the other hand, don't get worried if you don't have any. Many of us do not have what we would like to have, because these people, these den of vipers, these thieves, what they've done. But they've accumulated mass amounts of silver and gold. And when this whole, and Russia's getting their gold, is not exporting any of their gold anymore. China's not exporting any of their gold. Kyrgyzstan is trying to get as much as it can. Hungary just came out and said we got 31 tons. They only had like 3 tons a while ago, and now they've been accumulating it. Now they have 31 tons. And here's what's happening. We've been ripped off. The Western nations have been ripped off all the gold that we used to have, all the wealth that we used to have, all the manufacturing capabilities we used to have has all been shifted over to the east, to China and other parts of the world, to the non-white nations. The biggest theft in history has taken place under the control of these den of vipers. And the collapse, one thing I need to make straight, the collapse is not going to be, the total collapse is not going to be overnight. The monetary collapse, the collapse of the dollar might be, but the collapse is already ongoing. These are all indications. The gold being ripped off, the silver being accumulated by our friends there in Wall Street, everybody getting into the stock market while the insiders are getting out, the stock buybacks, the quantitative easing, nothing more than the creation of money, the inflation that's coming, hyperinflation. Folks, it's going to be a worldwide doozy. And that brings me to the next point, and let me take another sip of coffee and a pause, and I'll be right back. Don't go away, as they say. I sit here and I see these people my age, and they're in brand new RVs, and they're in, they seem to be, they come across like they're enjoying life so much fun. We're having so much fun that, how did she say it? We're having more fun than people should be allowed to have. They're just, oh wow, we're just enjoying our sunset years. Pickleball. They travel. They're going to Palm Springs to go play in a pickleball tournament. So got nothing else to do. And I sit here and I'm driving in my 77 Chevy Mini Winnie Mobile most of the time, or hopefully. And I'm going down the bumpy roads, and I can't wait to get to where I'm going. And you can't help but think about what's happened in the past in your life. But then I switch from there to the future, because if there's no afterlife, folks, think about it. If there's no afterlife, then what's the point of doing the right thing? What's the point of not going and taking matters into your own hand? Why not go and take care of business? Or why not just end your life? I'm not saying I'm going to do that, folks, but think about it. Why not, when you get to your senior years, if there's no afterlife, there's no judgment coming, there's no accounting, there's no giving an account. Remember I did that video on that little hyphen, that dash between the day you're born and the day you die. That's the most important part of that scene there on the grave. Let's go have a look at that just a second. If there's no having to give an account, if there's no judgment seat of Christ, what difference does it make what you do right here? Think about that. You know, if these people can get away with what they're getting away with, if there's no afterlife, why don't we just take matters into our own hands? That's why I left the country in 1999, folks. I was thinking about taking matters into my own hand. Thank Yahweh I didn't do that, because I thought about the future. And there's a day of reckoning coming. We're going to have a reset to reality here in the United States. And a lot of people, like this couple with the $130,000 Mercedes Weekender, they're going to get their financial ass kicked. And you know what? I'm not going to laugh, but I'm going to say, well, some of us tried to warn you. You're the people. These are the kind of people, when I was going through what I went through, didn't give a shit. When I was going through what I went through in that lawsuit there in Montana, went all the way to Supreme Court twice and still lost. And that's has an effect on what I've been able to do with my life since that time. These people don't give a rat's ass. They're out playing pickleball. They're out playing golf. And nothing wrong with entertainment sports, but there's got to be a balance there. If you don't do anything, if you don't get involved, and you don't try to stop what's happening, well, this is where we are now. It's over. This country's finished. And I've heard people say that Trump's going to be able to. Trump's not. It's so bad that it's over, folks. It's over. It just may not be as bad as it would have been if the other individual got in. And these elections coming up here in a couple of weeks are very important, but it's just going to slow the process down a little bit. It's over. The economic system is finished. The Keynesian experiment is a failure. We went off Yahweh's money, gold and silver. The Congress hasn't been doing what they should have been doing. The Constitution is just a JD piece of paper, as Bush said. The non-whites are coming into the United States. It just goes on and on and on and on and on and on and on. And then you meet people like this, and you go, well, no wonder. No wonder. Anyway, my buddy, see how bad, this is just another example in my own life. My, quote, buddy is already ahead of me, way ahead of me a couple days. And you don't call, hey, Charles, how you doing? Where are you? Because his vehicle's pretty new and mine's an old beater. And he's not concerned about me anymore. He used me, and it's my fault. I had expectations, and I project, and that's what white people do. We project onto other people our virtues and our character, and whenever I do that, I am disappointed, very disappointed. So I learned a lesson again, reinforced. Don't ask me for any help, because you're not going to get it. But then again, I may change my mind, because the Holy Spirit does work, and thank goodness for that. May God's grace be upon us all, for we most certainly need it. And I do thank you for your time spent here on this channel. And please keep me in your prayers. They do work. I got to go south. I'm not quite there yet. Another, 150 miles maybe. And I don't want to get on the road. I got to get on highway number 40. You see all the trucks out here. They just, and anything can happen. So I do covet your prayers. And once again, may God's grace be upon us all. May Yahweh's grace be upon us all. The Caucasian race, the Israelites. For we most certainly need it. See ya.